It is with a heavy heart that I take up my pen to write these, the last words in which I shall ever record the singular gifts demonstrated by my friend, George Kessler.
Super Dave, what are you doing?
Hello, Mrs. Riles.
Oh, Dave, how many times do I have to tell you? You can call me Barbara.
All right, Barbara.
You should know that by now, you silly Billy. However, the only thing I do ask is you don't make direct eye contact.
Sorry.
Now, what are you up to there?
I'm just writing a story about what happened when George Kessler disappeared from Northland TV a few years back.
Writing, eh? I'm not much good into writing, or reading for that matter. It makes my head throb.
But don't you have to read the teleprompter every night?
Technically, I suppose I should, but more often than not, I just make it up. Well, I'm off to the vending machines. Barbara needs her something crunchy. Wish me luck.
Good luck. It was my original intention to have said nothing of that terrible event at Gooseberry Falls, which has created a void in my life that the lapse of 2 years has done little to fill.
Hey, Super.
Yeah, Michelle?
Have you seen Barbara? She stole my hairspray again.
She went to get her something crunchy.
She didn't have my hairspray, did she?
I really don't know.
She's gonna find it hard to chew on something crunchy with no teeth.
Michelle, I'm kind of busy here.
Well, pardon me. What are you doing that's so important?
I'm writing about the time George disappeared a few years back.
George has been gone? I have got to start reading the paper.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea to keep informed, seeing you are in the news business and all.
If you see Barbara, tell her my hair is looking for her, and it is not happy.
Got it. My hand has been forced, however, by the recent letters in which Colonel Johann Sundgaard defends the memory of his brother, and I have no choice but to lay the facts before the public exactly as they occurred.
Super!
What, Barbara, what?
There's a bag of Munchos just hanging in the rack. Can you bump the machine and knock it down? I'll split it with you.
Go away.
Fine. Sorry. Hey, I know. Maybe Michelle's hair can help me. Michelle!
So now it lies with me to tell for the first time what really took place between former KBGR meteorologist Sven Sundgaard and Mr. George Kessler. It all began on a snowy November evening a few years ago. I entered the weather office to find George, all alone in the corner, looking over his indecipherable collection of weather charts. Excuse me, I'm looking for George Kessler. I'm the new weekend weather guy. My name's Dave Anderson, but my friends call me...
Super. I know that. I also know that you've recently graduated from UND and are working your way up through the news production crew until you join the ranks of meteorologists.
Wow, that's amazing.
Elementary, my dear Super.
Did you figure that out through your keen powers of observation and deductive reasoning?
No. I just read your bio off the website. Hey, what do you think of this?
It looks like some kind of water drop or something.
To the untrained eye, that may be true. But it is actually a cloud condensation nuclei, a small particle in the air upon which water vapor condenses and forms cloud droplets. This little guy is the reason this room will soon fill with fog.
Uh-huh. Well, that sounds fine, but I just want to forecast the weather. I don't care about that other mumbo-jumbo.
Then you are a fool. You must not only see the weather, you must observe the elements that go into making the weather. Only then will you truly be a meteorologist.
Yeah, that's right.
Who are you?
This is my co-meteorologist, Sven Sundgaard. Sven, meet Super Dave.
Ah, I see you have recently graduated from UMD and are working your way up through the news production crew until you join the ranks of media.
I already did that.
But not as classy as me, I'll bet you for sure. Yeah.
All right, that's it, SunGuard. You've shown me up for the last time.
Oh, heck no. The last time will be tonight's 6 o'clock newscast, live from Gooseberry Falls, eh? I'll show the people of the Northland who's the real meteorologist. I'm better looking, I'm smarter, and Husqvarna people love me. Bye-bye, Georgie.
That's sure some nice guy.
He is the Napoleon of weather. But after tonight, his reign will be over. No reason.
If I could have foreseen what the events of that night would hold, I would have done something to prevent them. But, alas, I could not. As the newscast drew near, I approached the falls with George and helped set up our television gear.
Just feel that katabatic breeze blowing down the hill. It reminds me of the famous hydrologic cycle of 72. Invigorating. Come, Super. The weather is afoot.
Yeah, it's great. Where do you want this Doppler radar unit, George? This heavy Doppler radar unit.
Just place it on those lady slippers. I have more important items to ponder, such as that young lass approaching us from the west.
Mr. Kessler! Mr. Kessler!
Yes, what is it?
I have this letter from the visitor center. It seems that a tourist from Wadena needs to have a question answered about the difference between a warm front and a cold front. None of us know. You've got to help us.
Steady on, young lady. My good friend Dave Anderson will accompany you back to the center and deal with your tourist.
But George, the newscast starts in 5 minutes.
The weather doesn't come on until the 4th segment. We've got plenty of time, and it sounds like this tourist can't wait. Go, man. I can handle things here until you get back.
Hurry! He said he's not going to buy any more stuff from the gift shop until we get his questions answered. We need that gift shop revenue.
Go, man. Hurry.
I had to leave. It was impossible to refuse the request of a tourist from Wadena. Yet I had my scruples about leaving George. As I turned back at the nature cart, I saw George, his glasses reflecting in the sunlight as he gazed down at the rush of the water of Gooseberry Falls. Slowly, he scratched his hinder. In that absent-minded way of his, little did I know, it was the last I was ever destined to see him in this world. It may have been a little over 10 minutes before I reached the visitor center. The old naturalist was standing at the cash register. Well, where's the confused tourist?
You'll have to be more specific than that.
The one from Wadena who wanted to know the difference between a cold and a warm front.
Buddy, I don't know what the hey-ho you're jabbing about, but ain't nobody here that cares about fronts. What are we, weather geeks?
But I waited for none of the naturalist's explanation. In a tingle of fear, I was already running down the asphalt-covered path. It had taken me 10 minutes to come up, but twice as long to get back down. I get to the gym when I can. Come on, give me a break. As I found myself next to the falls of Gooseberry once more, I spied George's Doppler radar unit, still lying upon the squashed Minnesota State flower. But there was no sign of him. It was in vain that I shouted, "George! George!" But the only answer was,
Yeah, will ya? Yeah, you scared my dog, you freak.
my own voice, reverberating in a rolling echo from the cliffs around me. Suddenly, my eye came upon the gleam of a pair of round glasses. As I took them up in my hands, a small square of newswire fluttered to the ground. Unfolding it, I found that it was a note addressed to me. The writing was firm and clear, as though it had been written in his geostationary satellite.
My dear Super, I write these lines through the courtesy of Mr. SunGuard, awaits my presence and our final discussion of the forecasts which lie between us. He has been giving me a sketch of the methods he has used.
You don't need these fancy-dancy gizmos and gadgets, Kessler. Just lick your finger and stick it out the window. Hoopy-doopy.
I shall soon free Northland audiences from any further effects of his evil presence, though I fear at a cost which will give pain to you, my dear Super. Pray, give my greetings to Mrs. Riles, while looking directly at the floor, and believe me to be, my dear fellow, very sincerely yours, George Kessler.
A few words may suffice to tell the little that remains. An examination by viewers left little doubt that a personal contest between two pretty boy meteorologists ended, as it could hardly fail to end in such a situation, in their both moving on to bigger out-of-town markets. Any attempts at keeping them in Duluth were absolutely hopeless.
That's beautiful, Dave. Just beautiful.
If only George was still around. We didn't know what a great weatherman we had right here in our midst.
Hey, how's it going, Michelle? Babs?
George!
You're back!
I am.
Well, I thought we lost you that day at Gooseberry Falls. How come you're back in Duluth?
Elementary, my dear Super. Whenever you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Which means?
I need a job, man. I mean, I'm even willing to work at Channel 3.
Now, since he is on Channel 3, where no one will ever see him again, I am left to keep alive the memory of a man whom I shall ever regard as the best and geekiest weatherman I have ever known.